news, people. I just want to remind you, you can listen to Zelda Monday to Friday mornings, 10 to 11 a.m. on Chin FM 100.7 or online at zeldayoung.com.
Welcome to the Canadian Friends of the Israel Guide Dog Center for the Blind. The Israel Guide Dog Center for the Blind enables blind and visually impaired Israelis to achieve independence, mobility, and self-esteem through working partnerships with guide dogs. For information, please call Sarah Gabriel at 416-577-3600 or www.ca.israelguidedog.org. Okay, Ephraim Zeidman is joining us this morning. He is a puppy-raising family member for Guiding Eyes in the States. He's in Israel for a year of Shabbaton, living in Jerusalem. He and his wife Bunny have given their time and love as dog sitters for various adoptive families of the Israel Guide Dog Center for the Blind during the time that they're here, and they perform many mitzvot, and we're very happy to have them with us this morning. Ephraim, how are you this morning? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing great, Zelda. I hope you're doing great as well.
We are. Not a great connection, but let's hope that it improves in moments. Okay, so Ephraim, how did this all begin? How did you and your wife become, puppy raising family for guiding dogs in the States?
Well, that's correct. It started in the United States. We actually attended, believe it or not, we saw a poster at a local laundromat that said, "Love dogs, want to raise a guide dog." So it piqued our interest. So we went to a couple of classes, but at that stage, our personal dog, which was a golden retriever, was kind of sick at that stage. We didn't think that was actually fair to bring another dog into the family, so we put that off. And unfortunately, after she passed away, we started attending classes and learning about it, and we became volunteer puppy raisers for Guiding Eyes for the Blind out of Yorktown Heights, New York.
What is Guiding Eyes for the Blind?
It's an organization. There's about a dozen or so guide dog schools in the United States. I know at least one in Canada, and no doubt there's more. And what they do is they raise dogs to be trained to become guide dogs for visually impaired and blind people.
Okay, I'm sure that the guide dogs that they raise are for people who are born blind or visually impaired. In Israel, where the Israel Guide Dog Center resides, it's for a lot of veterans who have lost their sights during these wars that continue to go on over and over again.
That's correct. I guess it doesn't matter how you got blind, whether you were born that way or developed it or unfortunately lost your sight and contact. You would be able to ask to get a guide dog and be able to get one eventually.
Okay,
the great thing about them.
So how long have you been doing this now?
Well, in the United States, my wife and I have raised 3 different puppies. It's about a 14 to 16-month commitment in the United States. 2 of those eventually became guide dogs, and the third dog that we left back in March when we came to Jerusalem is currently in training to become a guide dog.
Okay, it must be hard for you because you had a dog of your own and you until he passed on or she passed on, and now you're raising puppies to be given away to families in Israel. How does that sit with you?
It's actually an incredible mitzvah. My wife and I, who both jointly do this with love, get so much more out of it than we put into it. So it's the question we usually get, and it's the hardest one to answer, is how can you give up a puppy?
Right.
After you've had it in your home and in your heart for a year or so, how can you give it up? And it's not easy. You do it with tears in your eyes and a broken heart, but you have to realize the incredible difference that dog potentially could make in somebody's life. Essentially, you're giving somebody the ability to see. So that makes it all worthwhile.
Okay, now you have come to Israel for a year. How did you connect up with the Israel Guide Dog Center?
Well, since my wife and I have been volunteering with the Guiding Eyes for the Blind in the United States, it was actually quite simple. I've spent a fair amount of time in the past in Israel before. I always knew there was a guide dog the idea started rolling around in my wife's and our mind about coming for an extended stay to Israel, we already reached out to the Guide Dog Center in Beit and told them they would be coming. And they said, well, when you get here, let us know. So when we arrived, I think within a day or two, they were our first stop.
So how does it compare to the organization in the States?
Oh, that's a tough question. I guess since Israel is such a small country, the Guide Dog Center is smaller in size and in staff and unfortunately in resources. But that doesn't mean they don't need volunteers as much, or that probably means even more with the United States organization we volunteer with. But I guess the bottom line is, it's obvious when you meet the people at the Israel Guide Dog Center, this is their love, this is their passion, it's what they live for to do, and that's also shown in the quality of their dogs and the incredible work they do.
Okay, so you're staying nearby, near the center, and you're going there on a regular basis. What exactly are you doing?
Actually, it's a little more complicated. Since we did not get a puppy to raise, spoke with the staff there, and since we were going to be here during the summer months, one of the biggest problems they have at the Israel Guide Dog Center during the summer is to find puppy sitters, if you will. People to watch the puppies in training when people go on vacation. Now, granted, for the last 4 or 5 weeks, maybe a whole lot of people haven't gone on vacation, but we've actually been babysitting a female breeding dog. The family went overseas just before the craziness started. Her name is Alpha, and we've been babysitting her for over a month now, and I think we've got her for about 2 more weeks. She's the second dog we babysat. The first one was actually a working guide dog. His name was Harry. They asked us to watch Harry because Harry's blind partner was sick, and they didn't think it would be healthy or good for the dog to be in a kennel situation until the person got better. So they asked if we could take care of Harry and work on his skills. So we had Harry for about a month and a half as well. So we've kind of become babysitters or puppy sitters, if you will, during the summer months.
So when do you go back to the United States?
Well, we don't have definite plans now, but probably towards the end of the year, early 2015. We still have some things we want to do.
And when you go back, are you going to continue on with your project from the Guiding Eyes in the States? Or do you expect...
Absolutely.
You won't
Absolutely. I'm sorry.
Will you be getting another dog for yourself?
Well, we will probably go back to the States, and it will probably take us a little while just to get our feet on the ground, of course. But soon after that, we'll be requesting a puppy to raise and become a puppy raiser. That would be something I know my wife and I are going to be doing for sure.
Okay, well, Ephraim, I thank you very much for joining us. It is a marvelous story, and I hope there are other people out there who will take this very special job on, because it is so important, and we wish you all the very best in the world. Thank you so much for helping us in all of these ways with the Israel Guide Dog Center for the Blind.
Thank you for talking to me, Zelda. And what we always say is if there weren't volunteer puppy raisers, there would not be guide dogs. So thank you for your time too.
Thank you, Ephraim. Thank you very much for joining us. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Take care. Bye. The Canadian Friends of the Israel Guide Dog Center for the Blind will return next week. Volunteer for a parlor meeting or sponsor a puppy through your school, synagogue, or organization. Call our Executive Director, Sarah Gabriel, at 416-577-3600 or email her at sarah.israelguidedog@rogers.com or www.ca.israelguidedog.org.